Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show. We're going to have a 30-second moment of silence. My co-host, Tracy DeForge, her brother, last night passed away. And so we're going to give a little bit of we're going to give a 30-second memorial. His name is Mark Long. And Mark Long, brother of our co-host, Tracy. And we are back with the Ask Brien Radio Show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Like no other station in the world! Why do you do that, engineer?
Do what?
That voice. You sound like Donald Duck or something.
It doesn't sound like Donald Duck at
Yeah,
all.
you do. Of course you do.
No, maybe me right there, but not that. That doesn't sound like Donald
Don't be ridiculous.
That's Daffy.
Anyway, you're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show. Ask Brien Radio basically is a business-oriented show. Each week, we try to have either a startup company or CEO or someone that can teach someone something about business. And that's what the Ask Brien Show is all about. It's been on since 2017, January, way back when we had the Pony Express. Everybody asks us all the time on the Ask Brien Radio Show, why are you using the letter E? Last week, Tracy answered that question because the engineer gets too dumbfounded and doesn't know what's going on and gets all confused. So we thought we'd let somebody else try. But, Tracy's not going to be with us this week. So we are going to go back to the engineer. And, we know that engineer starts with an E, but why do you spell Brien with an E?
Well, you know why? There's a number of E words that have to do with kind of like the theme of Ask Brien, in a way. One of them happened to be engineer, but he took that aspect away from me because he knows that's my favorite word.
And it's something
engineer.
You aspire to, which you don't have qualifications.
Oh, I mean, I disagree. If I didn't have the qualifications, would I be here right now? Hmm?
You know what? They're giving out jobs to anyone.
Oh,
I hear monkeys are next.
Oh my gosh. Well, another word. Well, let's start with the first word that's not engineer. Empathy, which he was not showing right there. Empathy. We're all very
empathetic to all those monkeys.
Terrible. The next one we have is effort because everybody here gives 110% their effort on the Ask Brien Show.
How can you give more than 100%?
I don't know. Go reach beyond your limits, I guess. Go beyond. Other ones we have are excellence because we exude nothing but excellence here on the Ask Brien Radio Show. Another one we have happens to be, let's see, we had effort, engineer, empathy, excellence, experts. Because everybody here on the Ask Brien Show is an expert in some sort of field that we have. Kind of differs every single week, but we do bring on experts.
Everyone except for the engineer, but go ahead.
Easy there, partner, easy.
Partner.
Hey, easy. I guess that can be one, maybe. It starts with an E.
Don't tell everybody about your life.
No, gosh, my goodness. Anyways, aren't there happen to be ones that...
Well, there's two, but I've added a third one because it's all part of the same thing. Let's get enthusiastic and be excited because you got a lot of energy.
That's a pretty good one, actually. Those are pretty similar to each other. All right, sweet.
So now I've added a new one. So next week we'll stump the engineer, which will be like about as hard to do as, I don't know, parking your car.
I know how to park my car expertly. Thank you very much.
A golf cart doesn't count.
Jeez.
Or one of those electrical ones, or one of the ones where they're parallel park assist. You push a button and
I got nothing on this one. I got nothing to retaliate with this. He's got me.
Are we on Facebook Live?
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, everyone, as Tracy won't be here, it'll be just myself, and I guess we'll be making, our usual great comments from the guy who thinks he's an engineer and sits across me. But without any further
Yikes.
ado, how do you spell ado?
ADIEU.
Why do I like that word?
Because majority of those letters are vowels.
And
And, well, except for the D.
because most people don't use that word.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah, that's true.
A little old-fashioned.
It is
So
a
we
little
have our
old-fashioned.
guest, and his name is Bill Saller. Bill, you there?
I am. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. That was wonderful.
You have a long last name. It took me like 2 minutes.
Well, it was long for you. Yeah.
Like other parts of my body, but let's not get into that.
Well, I'm sure that's debatable, but that's a subject for another day.
I'll speak to Mrs. Vons. Anyway,
Ooh. Okay.
all right, so we're back. We're live. We're better than ever. So, Bill, you were on the show once before, but not everyone listened to every show because there are some stragglers out there that don't get to listen to every show, and we're calling them out right now. But so not too many people know your background. What is your background? I know you mentioned something that you're in the food industry, but I don't know what that means, other than the fact that I like to eat those those goldfish and ramen noodles. But I don't know what exactly business are you in?
Well, so Albany Farms, I'm CEO of Albany Farms. We're a food company. We were launched in 2017 and with the purpose of being a significant distributor of food products to primarily retail chains across the U.S. My background, I've been in the food industry and in retail and in international business my entire career. I left college for an opportunity to own my own bread distribution business. I owned a route, if you will, and was bitten by the entrepreneurial bug from that point forward. I've been involved in launching brands like, Snapple Iced Teas, Crystal Geyser Waters, Krispy Kreme Donuts. Had a fair amount of success in those industries, and so we launched Albany Farms in 2017, and we're very fortunate to have a terrific team of people involved in the group, which is what is needed in our industry to be successful. We have some long-term industry professionals, and pretty much everybody is more capable than myself, which as a CEO I think is crucial, and I feel very blessed from that in that regard. So we're currently, we've launched approximately a year and a half ago a ramen noodle, 18 different SKUs that people might find in some of the largest or one of the largest retailers in the world. We've launched on the West Coast with the ramen products. We've had some significant success, and we will, in the next 4 years, be one of the largest food companies in the country. That's a target of ours, and that's a realistic one. So we have very lofty aspirations, and we're working hard toward that, and very excited to be in that position.
I'm not trying to stump you, but I do that all the time. So you said you're in the ramen noodle business right now, okay?
We are.
And you said you wanted to be one of the biggest food companies in the world. Do you have any statistics to know the sales volume of ramen noodles compared to other products?
Absolutely. So ramen noodles is a $28 billion a year industry. It's growing annually at about 2.5%. It's one of the larger growth items in the food category. We've had it's been an interesting past year for us. At the same time we launched with this significant retailer, we also, the whole COVID thing hit us as like it did everybody else. And because we're currently importing our product, that created some significant challenges, and not the least of which is, finding containers and finding transportation and the costs that are associated with that. So it's been a very trying year. But we made a decision, and we're very proud of that, to provide a significant amount of ramen product in the U.S. that might not have otherwise been available. And ramen is one of those categories that, a lot of people that can't afford to go to the Whole Foods or places like that. They rely on that cheaper product for a meal. And so we made a decision during COVID to continue on and provide a significant amount of product, even though from a financial perspective it was challenging because we were facing significant container costs to import product. There weren't people working at ports. There was a lack of equipment. And it was just very, very challenging. But we decided to do it anyway, and we're very proud of the fact that, in a very trying time, we're coming out of it now, but in a very trying time, we were able to provide that product for a lot of folks that may not have had that otherwise.
Now, I was very surprised. You're telling me $28 billion?
$28 billion. Yeah, it's a huge category.
That is a huge, huge category.
And it's expected to grow further, in the next 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, it's not just because it's being consumed a lot. It's not just because of COVID that people are looking for quick, easy meals. Quick, easy meals that are easy to, that are easy to prepare, and so it's skyrocketed recently. But it's going to continue, and also not just in the the lower end category, but also from a flavor perspective with. A very spicy noodles are very popular with younger generations, and there's just a significant growth. Now, at the same time, one of our passions is to create a healthier product. So we're going to tweak and work on formulations to create a ramen noodle that's a little bit healthier than what you might find, available now, and we're working toward that as we speak.
Are we referring to whole wheat? Are we referring to gluten-free?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, gluten-free is one area. A higher protein profile is another. Lower sodium. Sodium is a major issue with ramen because to get that significant flavor, typically the sodium profile is egregious. So we're working on that as well for different options. We've got a research and development department and different folks that are working together to create a healthier product. So the higher the protein, the lower the sodium. Different noodle presentations, whether that's plant-based or otherwise. There's lots of ways that we're approaching this. And our target and what we are going to accomplish is certainly a healthier product than what's been available for the last 20, 25 years.
What about a low carb?
Low carb is possible too. Now that depends on the type of noodle. That's where that comes from, and there are many options from that plant-based options that can accomplish that. Our initial target is going to be the sodium content and the protein. That because people that are consuming this ramen noodle, we want it to be a true meal, not just empty calories that you're consuming. So that's one of our passions. Now at the same time, we have to be cognizant of the marketplace and what people are willing to pay for a ramen noodle. So we're always, conscious and aware of pricing as well. So our company's built around significant volume and low margin with a great quality product. That's what we're built around, and that's why we've had such significant interest from a number of, the largest retail chains in the world.
What's the average retail cost of the ramen noodles?
Well, it can be as low as what we call a pillow pack or a pouch. That can be as low as 20 or 25 cents for a single unit. And for the cups could be, between 35 and 50 cents a unit. Depends on, where you're at. But, they're very inexpensive. And a lot of people consider those meals. And so, our passion is to keep our costs down as much as possible. But by being aware and mindful of the fact that it needs to be, a bit healthier product, and that's what we're working on as well.
And what about environmentally? You mentioned that they have the cups, right? So, is anything being done on that area?
So we're one of the only companies that I'm aware of that offers a paper cup versus a styrofoam. Styrofoam obviously is horrible for the environment. It ends up usually in oceans and doesn't break down and ends up in, marine life consumes that so the paper is biodegradable. It's something that is, really good for the environment. It's a little bit more pricey, but we feel that that's the better path to take, the better approach to take. In addition, we're looking at blockchain technology so that a consumer that purchases our product, they have the ability to see, where everything that we touch to make our product is grown, where the wheat is harvested, from our flavoring standpoint. We want to be truly transparent for consumers. And that's why, among many reasons why we believe we'll be one of the top 2 ramen brands in the country.
And who's your biggest competition?
Well, from a retail perspective, that would be Marachon. There are 2 main competitors, Marachon and Nissin Foods. Nissin would be more like a cup of noodles that people might recognize. Marachon mostly is the retail competitor. And they do great companies that do great work. We're trying to change the category a little bit and not just, clone what others have done. We're trying to, create, produce, and distribute products that people are going to come back for and realize that they're getting a great value, they're getting a great product, they're getting tremendous transparency with where the product comes from. And, we've got a great team of partners in the company, from investors to our staff. They're just incredible at what they do, and feel very blessed from that regard. We're taking some significant steps to grow. We're bringing our production to the U.S. And across the country, and that's a significant task. But we've got such a strong team in place that we have that opportunity.
Our co-host Alex had a couple of questions. Alex, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, thank you, sir. Hey, Bill. I just have a few questions for you. I want to take it more into the business side. I love what you guys are doing, and of course, great products. But tell me more about. I know you have R&D. You mentioned that just a minute ago, and you have production. So how much has it helped you? You were talking about pricing. How much has it helped you to put in production lines to lower that cost, or have you done anything to automate production? And how do you go about doing R&D with these? Is there regulations that you follow, and how does that all work? Can you give our listeners a little bit of a taste of that?
Absolutely. From a production standpoint, we're starting with production now. We're launching in California now, so we haven't started that yet. That should be in place in approximately 8 weeks with our first facility with incredibly automated machinery. We'll have some of the fastest, most comprehensive machines in the marketplace. We have a second phase 4 months after that will launch in South Dakota. We're working with the South Dakota governor's office and putting a program together there to launch in approximately 4 months. We'll be in Belle Fourche, South Dakota. And that's in the wheat belt. And we're a wheat-based company. So there's some significant advantages there. And then we're launching third phase East Coast / Southeast, and we're looking at a few facilities in Georgia. So why would we want to do this in the U.S.? Why? Well, not just from the control standpoint and knowing everything that is produced here, but it's, we're in the wheat belt here. Flour, which is 90% of what we work with, is 35% cheaper here than it would be, say, for example, in Asia. Asia is a net importer. We're a net exporter, meaning that everything that they use for production is imported, and then they use that for production. With us, it's grown, and using South Dakota as an example, it's literally going to be grown right next to our facility. We're milling it ourselves and going into production. From a blockchain perspective, it can't get much more transparent than that. Your second question regarding R&D, we have an R&D director, Stephanie Magoon, who is doing tremendous amount of work, and we're working with some outside groups. And what we're doing is we're tinkering with formulations. We're tinkering with ways to create a healthier product, and that's not easy to do. It's not easy to lower the sodium. I'm sure the competition's tried to do that as well. But we've had some success, and we're working toward that, and we're real excited about that. And not the least of which, Alex, is we've got, some of the largest retailers in the world that are supporting us in this endeavor. I think COVID's taught a lot of people that, especially in my industry, that, importing is probably not the safest way to go, or maybe even the most a viable way to go. And that's why you see empty shelves when you go into stores now, is because retailers are saying, whoops, yeah, that might not have been the way to approach. So you're going to see in the future here, we know this firsthand from some of the largest retailers, a made in America, grown in America strategy. And we play a large role, or we play a role in that with one in particular large retailer. They're partnering with us for this endeavor. They want made in the U.S., and we want to provide that. We think there's significant advantages to that, and not the least of which is transparency.
Well,
That sounds great. I know we have a break coming up, and I'd love to ask you some more afterward.
Oh, absolutely.
Green Thumb International has the widest variety of shrubs, flowering plants, and gardening supplies in the Santa Clarita Valley. This week in your garden, with the arrival of fall comes one of the year's most important annual color planting times. Color season annuals planted now will continue to bloom throughout the spring. Everything for your yard and garden is right here at Green Thumb on San Fernando Road near Sierra Highway. Green Thumb puts the green in your thumb.
Who says nothing good happens after midnight? Denny's is best known for their breakfast served round the clock like the Grand Slam. But you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner in a casual atmosphere 24/7. At Denny's, the lunch and dinner menu has a variety of appetizers, craveable burgers, salads, and entrees, along with the best desserts in town. Wherever you live in Santa Clarita, there's a Denny's close by. If you're pulling an all-nighter or don't feel like cooking, get into Denny's today. Good stuff is happening at Denny's.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Hey, Ned, what's with the cape and tights again? Didn't the boss tell you about that?
No, this time I'm really a Pacific Air hero. I'm flying around keeping our customers cool with our WOW AC tune-up. It's Super Ned to the rescue!
Get in the truck, Ned. Well, we're not letting Ned run around in tights.
But we are saving people every day.
Mark Schneider and daughter Kaylee for Pacific Air.
We're saving people from a hot, miserable home caused by an aging or broken AC system.
When you call Pacific Air, we know your time is precious. So we promise on-time service to save you time.
And right now, with every WOW AC tune-up, we will disinfect and sanitize the inside of your heating and air system free. We think you'll say,
wow!
When you want the best, call Pacific Air.
Get Pacific Air's WOW AC tune-up for just $77. Go to pacair.com, Pacaire. Remember, without the E, it's just air.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with our fabulous, amazing, incredible engineer,
Aw.
And you too, Patty.
Oh. Well, who's the other? Who else in here is the engineer?
Control board.
That's not the engineer. That's the engine.
That's the AI futuristic replacement. Anyway, we're
I don't know about AI.
We do have AG on the line, Mr. Alex Grossman.
Who also is an engineer. Who also happens to be an engineer, but I have my own train. No, I'm kidding. But.
I was about to be like, shout out to Alex Grossman. He's got my back.
Just stop going from the caboose, you know? Anyway, won't even go there. You were asking Bill some questions. Like, one of the questions you had for me, and I'm going to ask it, is, have you ever thought about using cauliflower noodles or other type of noodles? That was one of the questions Alex had, so I took it from him.
Well, absolutely we are, and we're looking at that now. One of the things you've got to look at is shelf life, because we're mainly in the shelf-stable space. And so we're looking at different packaging options to have a significant shelf life. And in our industry, you need to have at least 6 months stable shelf life to benefit. So we're looking at that now. There are options, and we're looking at it. And we also want to be very cognizant of the final retail price, because consumers, as much as we love to talk about all these different things, consumers are still wary when they see something that's pricey. So it's a mixed bag to bring something like that to market, and it takes significant amount of R&D to get to that point. But our initial target is certainly from a higher protein standpoint, a lower sodium, and then certainly we'll look at other noodle options, which would include lo mein, which would include the pho noodle, which is a rice noodle, which they have their own different benefits and unique taste profiles. And we're real excited about that. And what I haven't talked a little bit about is another thing that we're working on, our entire team, is from a flavoring standpoint. We're looking more toward, very savory products, which is incredibly hot in the market, especially with the younger generation. And that's, from the flaming, scorching, heat. We're also looking at a sweet profile, and we'll, I won't speak too much to it, but we're looking at unique ways to present ramen noodles to the market. And additionally, we're looking at chow meins and things like that.
Well, Bill, I'll tell you, as Brien knows, and most people know, I'm a startup guy. So in my world, we always had ramen as the staple of startups. So if you opened up the cabinet in all of our kitchens, there was nothing but ramen in there. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, and energy drinks, ramen and energy drinks. That was basically kept us all going. So the cost was always something we were concerned about. But we did have people who said, I have to watch my sodium intake. There were people who said, I wish I had a low carb option. There were people who, you're right, there were people who were putting red pepper and hot sauce on ramen. So yeah, you'd be surprised how that was mainly younger generation, but programmers got to keep them going, whatever it takes to keep them working 24/7. So kind of a mean thing.
Well,
but going back
another
to the other
thing. Oh, go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, please.
I was going to say another interesting thing is that we get lots of folks that reach out to us and say, listen, we use your ramen for a meal presentation. I mean, they'll cook the ramen and put it with different meats and different vegetables and actually present it on a plate. And do it that way, and top the noodles with all kinds of different, whatever family's favorite toppings are. So there's lots that you can do with the product aside from just simply have, the ramen as it sits. And I think more and more people are discovering that. It's very simple, it's very quick, and with Albany Farms, we're going to find a way to make it at least somewhat healthy as well.
How about macaroni and cheese? That's a nice low-income concept. I remember going to the store and buying the Kraft macaroni and cheese, 3 or 4 for $1.
Well,
that's
funny
a lot
you
more
mention
work,
that.
though.
Well, it is. We're going to launch with macaroni and cheese out of our South Dakota facility, and
wow.
The reason we're doing that because it's the wheat belt there. So obviously, from a wheat perspective, which is flour, produces flour, we're right there. But also, there's a huge dairy cooperatives there. So, we're doing a lot of good for the state of South Dakota. We're bringing a lot of jobs there. These are fresh jobs because we're currently importing. So we're bringing hundreds of jobs to local communities. and using resources and using, our commodities here in the U.S. versus, a lot of competitors, and I'm not speaking to any in particular, they import a lot of their raw materials, and our plan is not to do that. So, again, we're excited about that as well. But, we're always going to be leaning toward a healthier product, healthier than the competition.
I have one question before Alex continues, and that is, anytime, my understanding, anytime you bring stuff where you're going domestic, all right, the cost factor is the biggest issue. Why? The labor costs are higher in the U.S. than almost any other country in the world, maybe Europe, but is very high. And then, of course, having the product. So maybe you don't have to pay the fee to import or the fee of a duty, but you still have higher costs all the way around. So how do you compete with the important companies when you're trying to do that in the U.S.?
Oh, it's a terrific question. Well, there are significant hurdles to importing, and certainly in our category, but others as well. So, the cost of containers are, they've gone up tremendously in the past year, and we don't see them going down. So there's an efficiency there. There's a transportation issue. There's a container ship issue. There's less container ships. A lot of these ocean carriers have downsized, and so there's less physical vessels, on the waters now. So it's trickier than it was in the past, that's for sure, and certainly more expensive. But in our category, we're wheat-based, and we happen to be, one of the cheapest countries in the world for wheat happens to be here. And so we have some significant advantages there. And what we have specifically, another area that we're a big advantage is that our equipment is new, very automated and very high speed. So we don't have, I've seen in other countries, more than 100 employees for one machine, for an example. And with ours, we're talking something closer to 25. So we tend to be very efficient with our machinery. They tend to be very high speed, so our output is better than, say, what the competitors might have because our equipment is newer and certainly from a speed variable, some of the quickest in the industry. So we feel like we're very competitive, and we think it's the right thing to do as well. And so there might be, we don't see it. We still see it as a net advantage. And the only place that it's not is with the labor, like you said, but we're going to use a lot less of it, but still impact hundreds and hundreds of jobs in each community that we launch in, and we're very excited by that.
Yeah, so Bill, it seems to me that vertical integration that you have, the automation, the ability to be able to mill your own flour right there, that would seem that new machines, the advantage you would have would be cleanliness, speed, which also means freshness, right? And automation, which just means more productivity, so it helps to control costs. And a USA-made product is always the best. I mean, you're making me hungry here. I got to get another startup going so I can put that mac and cheese as well in there. But it seems like that's the way to go. But I was going to ask another question around that. One of the things that we always have, where our audience is always asking, hiring people. So you're building these plants. How are you going about hiring people, and do you need a certain skill set for this, or do you find these are real more the excuse the term, bread and butter workers that are around the country, so you're actually making jobs in the U.S., right?
Well, it's another great question. I can tell you that we've been fortunate in that we have a few human resource folks that are entrenched in their communities, and we do job fairs, certainly for some positions, or we do for all positions. I mean, these are all fresh, brand new jobs, and so there's ample opportunity. So we'll host job fairs. We'll let different ways to let the communities know that we are hiring. We'll certainly do some sort of social media as well. We also have plant management that have experience in the food industry, and so they'll have some folks that are specific to what we're doing that might be a little bit of a benefit. But to your point, we're not requiring for some of our positions, we will be doing the training. And so these are great jobs for people to learn a new skill, to get into the food industry. And one of our passions in our company is to integrate, to promote from within. And so, if you start out as a line worker or somebody, in sweeping the floors, there's no reason that you can't work your way up if you have dedication and you do what's necessary. The opportunity to reach a very high level in our company exists, and we're also
you're building the American dream for people. So you're building the American dream for your employees. It's a great deal.
Absolutely, and because that's what we believe in. That's what I believe in. I mean, myself, I grew up rather poor and worked hard and had I've had successes and failures, but I've had some significant opportunities, and I realized in my life, and one of my passions is to share what I've learned, and certainly hard work, tenacity, never stopping, always moving forward is for me anyway, has been a recipe for success. And I'd love to, impart that wisdom on others, and certainly in our team and our family of employees, that's going to be, one of the main themes. And people that are, dedicated and hardworking and want to, improve and have a better life for their families, we're going to support that all the way through.
Yeah, let's face it. Today, people have lost a lot of that, what I like to call the American entrepreneurship, that people want to work for companies that really want to bring the employees up. They also want to work for companies that are USA-based because they feel that there's going to be more growth in the U.S. rather than a lot of companies that just have branches here, ship their money overseas, don't really want you to get better, want to, to work at the lowest wage. So I think what you're doing is great for community and also great for the market. So to me, it's a winning situation, and exactly what the entrepreneurial spirit that a lot of our listeners, want to have. It's like getting started, building this business, and making it successful. I have one more question for you before I turn it over to Brien. It's really quite simple, but it might take you off guard. So when you're doing this and you're looking at this and you're saying, I have, you wake up in the morning and you have this epiphany, this is the noodle we're going to build. Does that happen to you, or do you normally go to customers and say, what would you like to see? What's your development process for a new product?
Well, at my core, it's about making a difference. At my core, it's about approaching particularly food where there's a lot of food insecurity in the U.S. And so I've always taken the approach of coming up with something that is either healthier, better, cheaper, and finding a way to get that to market. And so that's where we start. The passion that we have with noodles, what we've noticed and what, I had in college, and most of us I'm sure did in high school and college, is you'd have that ramen cup and or bowl, and it would, not be very, if you had a couple of them in a day, I mean, you'd have enough sodium for a week. And right. So that never rang true to me. So one of our passions, or my passion, what we start the day with, is how can we make it better? How can we get to our marketplace and still make it affordable? We look at that every single day. We want to have a healthy product for our consumers, and we need to be and will be one of the largest brands in the country. So we always look forward. We always take an approach of how can we create, a noodle that has the flavor profile and the texture and the quality, the taste that people enjoy. So we put a lot of work into that, from the flavoring, the same thing, but we're also looking at flipping the script a little bit. We're looking at, like I said, a sweeter profile, a healthier profile, looking at it from a plant-based perspective. Yes, we go into every day thinking this very same thing. And how can we be most efficient? Some of these things aren't easy to answer. Some of these things you just don't know. You have to find them and take that journey. The importing versus domestic production is a big question for a lot of folks. And that's not an easy answer all the time. I tell you, it requires a lot to get to that point. And we finally reached the point that, it is the right step for our company in particular. I mean, not everybody can do what Tesla does and bring in machine parts during COVID and bringing them in on airlines. They can afford to do it. Most people can't. So, you have to, we had to be realistic about that. And there were just every advantage, everything pointed to us to U.S. production. And we know it's the right path. And again, I've been very blessed. I've got a team of people that are involved in the company that are as good as exists, and we all have the same philosophy. And we're a company that once you're in at Albany Farms, you're going to grow, and that's our passion, and just have some terrific jobs.
So we have about 30 seconds before we're going to take a break. We'll have to come back with the rest of the question. But my question is, your company name is Albany Farms. The ramen noodles that you're selling, are they under Albany Farms, or are they on a different name? And if so, why?
Yeah, so our brand is Panda Signature. I spent 2 years in when I was doing international commodities in China, and in Asia, Panda is it's a big name. It's an important name. It's one that's revered, and in the ramen space, we felt that was a really good brand to launch with. We have other brands as well, but that's certainly one of our core brands. And we think that in the ramen category, because the ramen comes from an Asian background, that would be a really good name to launch with. And you'll see the Panda Signature in chains like Walmart, for example.
We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna continue with that question.
Okay.
Celebrate the new year with the Canyon Theater Guild's new spring online youth workshops. Express yourself from the comfort of your own home with super fun classes like improv, script writing, audition techniques, and 2 brand new shows specifically designed for online performances. No borders, no experience necessary, and no end to the fun. Call 661-799-2702 or visit us at canyontheater.org.
When you're looking for a midnight snack, sometimes fast food just doesn't cut it. California Bakery and Cafe is open 24/7, so you'll be able to find fresh donuts, danishes, bagels, all-natural fruit juices, gourmet sandwiches, and much more at any hour. With elaborate cakes for any occasion, including weddings, baptisms, anniversaries, corporate events, or any special event. California Bakery and Cafe in Santa Clarita is open 24 hours to satisfy any craving, anytime. Call us, 255-1254. That's 255-1254.
This is Jill from the Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to our 4,655 families in the SCB community. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Centerpoint Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website at santaclaritagrocery.org or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
Have you heard that you can attend college tuition-free for your first 2 years?
The Canyons Promise program at College of the Canyons can make that happen.
First-time, full-time students in fall 2021 are encouraged to sign up now for Canyons Promise.
Benefits include paid enrollment fees, access to program counselors, priority registration, and more.
Attend COC tuition-free.
Visit canyons.edu/promise now for information and important deadlines.
canyons.edu/promise.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
No words can describe the power of belonging to a group of close friends or being part of a family. Insight Treatment Center was founded more than 20 years ago to give teenagers a community of friends and family as they overcome issues like depression, anxiety, and trauma. The new Santa Clarita location is a COVID-secure environment where distance and good airflow are a priority. As a leader in providing intensive outpatient treatment to teenagers, Insight Treatment Center in Santa Clarita is here to help. Call 888-295-9995 or go online to insighttreatment.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
your hometown station.
Welcome. You listen to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, like no other station in the world. That was a long one. I don't know why the engineer had that. He has a switch and he makes it longer. I think he likes to play with that. Anyway, play with the switch though. All right, we're back. We were finishing up that question about Albany Farms and Panda and why you would switch names or not use the Albany Farms only name, and you were talking about how your background. So you want to finish that up?
I
I totally got you there, pal. Okay.
No, you want to ask the question again?
Your company name is Albany Farms. You're branding your name.
Yeah.
You're branding on the Panda.
We decided to absolutely. We decided to launch with Panda Signature. We think it has a more of a ramen theme to it, like the competitors do. Our competitors are, have an Asian theme as well, and so we thought the Panda Signature would be, comfortable to enter into the marketplace. We do have other brands as well, but that's certainly one of our key brand. And as I said before, you'll find it in chains such as, say, Walmart and others. So we're real excited about that. We think the brand name was correct.
Now, if you want to bring in other people to your company to help out, bring in money to fund things, what would be the approach that you would take?
Great question. For anybody that's looking for investment, I guess the first things I would say is, be prepared, because you're going to be knocking on a lot of doors, and have a lot of rejection. So be very prepared for that. And, much like my attitude, it's, you keep going. To be a bit more specific and precise, if you could find investors that are in your space or understand your space. I think if you're going to, like I'm in the food business, if you're talking to somebody in the tech industry, we kind of talk different languages, because they're used to, the upside of being incredible upside that really isn't in the food business. But certainly from a stability and safety standpoint, it might be a little bit different as well. So, you have to find, the goal is to find like-minded investors that understand the space. And particularly right now it's challenging, I'm sure, for a lot of folks, and unless you happen to be Ethereum or Dogecoin or in the cryptocurrency space or some of the different stocks that you can invest in that are just shorting them and things like that, people are getting these, reading about these insane returns, thousands of percent and all of that. Well, when you're dealing with a food company that's 12 to 15% EBITDA, it's a little less exciting to some folks, at least right now. But, my argument to that has always been and always will be, from a safety standpoint, we will be here for a long period of time, and with a brand name that's known across the country. And to me, there's some significant value there. And in that other space, it's beyond my pay grade, but I mean, who knows, right? It's certainly a gamble when you get into those other things. And I think the food space is a lot less of that.
So do you think that, did you pick food maybe because it was such a safe area that you didn't have to worry about the fact that, hey, listen, everybody's going to need to eat, so you don't have to worry about that?
Well, the truth is I've always been related to food, whether it's in commodity or finished packaged goods. And I've come to learn late in life it's from my childhood. My childhood, there was some food insecurity for our family growing up. And, I didn't realize it, but, so I always gravitated toward that. As I mentioned earlier, I left college to buy a bakery distribution run. Well, it was bread. So, and I've always lean toward. I've been in other things as well, but certainly it's.
Thank you very much, Bill. I didn't mean to cut you off, but unfortunately, our time is up.